In Te Tai Tokerau, New Zealand Sign Language is coming face to face with te reo Māori.
It's so exciting really to see that Māori want to learn sign and have the opportunity. They've never had that before.
With a new language course offering a unique te reo approach.
Not enough people know sign language. So, I mean, that's why it's so important, this kaupapa, to come and encourage people to learn sign language.
Giving voice to an important kaupapa.
Hopefully there's going to be an entire community and an entire country where sign is a normal part of our everyday life, just like reo is.
Te Tai Tokerau is one of the most isolated and rural areas in Aotearoa. A place where it's easy for the Māori deaf community to become disconnected from their culture.
So I didn't know when you visit the marae, I didn't know you had to go through the front gate. I went straight into the kitchen.
Eddie Hokianga knows the struggle himself. Even the simple act of going onto a marae left him feeling whakamā.
No one had told me, I didn't know that. I followed deaf people and they didn't know either, and that was the wrong way.
So 5 years ago, Eddie decided to devote himself to teaching sign language, driving all across Te Tai Tokerau to share the reo.
At that time, though, I slept inside my car. I go and teach a class, look around, and then I just go back into my car and sleep there. Then carry on, go to work in the next class.
Today, Eddie is a full-time ringatohu reo Māori. And next month, he'll teach Māori ringatohu reo, a free 8-week sign language course with reo elements held at marae.
Now, though, of course, motel life, yeah. No more sleeping in the car.
And Eddie's giving me a taste of what the beginner's course is offering.
You got to warm up and warm into the kaupapa a bit. And you'll gain that understanding and it'll click into place and off you go. It'll be great.
It's a kaupapa Eddie has developed alongside his mate, Kim Robinson. Today, Kim's hosting his monthly sign language club at a local cafe in Kawakawa.
We all love to go for coffee. I mean, everybody likes to go, eat lunch and have coffee. But again, communication barriers exist everywhere, just trying to order the right, even a coffee.
Kim's worked as an advocate for the deaf community in Te Tai Tokerau for 10 years, working alongside people like communicator Jontelle Beech Cullen, who's helping us translate.
What do whānau tell you about going onto a marae or going to a birthday or a tangi and they're not able to understand anything? How does that make them feel?
Just isolated, depressed, really.
That prompted Kim and Eddie to set up Māori sign language classes in Te Tai Tokerau.
I realised that we needed something like this because I have a lot of Māori deaf friends who have trouble accessing language, communication, even their whānau do. And another thing, we really don't have enough interpreters that understand tikanga Māori.
However, it's been a long journey to have sign language and te reo Māori being taught together.
Similarities between sign language and te reo, both have a shared history of oppression. In 1880 was the first deaf school that was opened in Christchurch down Ōtautahi. The teachers of the deaf decided to ban sign language, so that impacted the deaf community here in Aotearoa. The New Zealand government, they used the Native Act of 1867 to suppress reo. And the deaf had a double dose. If you were deaf and Māori, you had both your languages banned on you.
As a 3-year-old, Eddie was sent to the Sumner School for the Deaf.
You spoke of being punished for using sign language. Can I ask, how often would that happen?
Well, I often hid and signed, but if I signed and got caught, then you would be punished straight away. You put your hands, both hands up.
Eddie and Kim are presenting evidence at a Waitangi Tribunal hearing at the Ngāti Hine Health Trust in Whangārei.
And so the punishment was being strapped? Was it with a belt or with something else?
Yeah, about.
Across his life, he struggled to access services in education, health and the justice system. He spent time in prison and says he hasn't always made the right decisions.
Because it sounds like you didn't have someone yourself to help navigate the world when you were young.
No, nothing. Just myself.
For Eddie and Kim to be able to give evidence at the Waitangi Tribunal today, it required a number of sign language interpreters and an audio-visual team behind the scenes. But most time, these types of resources aren't available to the deaf community.
Back in Kawakawa, 39 Gilly Street cafe owners Cathryn and Olive are becoming a valuable resource for the deaf community.
There was a father and a son that came in just recently, and the son came and ordered, didn't think anything of it, until he'd gone back to the table. Then we could see that he was signing with his father. He just thought that he was isolated. So we had gone over and said, thank you for coming for coffee. And he was just blown away with that. It's not any different from us having our rainbow flag out there. So the deaf community, it's the same thing for them. This is a place of inclusion.
Community leaders like Far North Councillor Moko Tepania are also taking up the challenge.
So how can the council support deaf people? That's a really important issue. It's so good to see community leaders learning it, and then deaf people feel safer, you know, if they've got these problems, that they can go and approach these people in their own language.
Just making yourself aware of what's available within your little communities, not necessarily just here, but everywhere.
And adding to your kite of knowledge. Like if you can add another language to your kite, why not? And it's an official language in our country, so why not add that kite in there?
And what's it like when you do start to see that change happen, when people are able to communicate?
It's so fantastic to see this when it happens.
Every time I see it, I want to cheer them on, you know. Hopefully I'm getting old soon, I can retire one day and there'll be other people to take my place.